Well, your search for happiness could be as easy as 10 simple steps all listed out for you.
I think it's just a wonderful book. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, this is what Amy Newmark says. It's her new book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Your 10 Keys to Happiness. And she is joining us now in studio. Thank you so much for being here. You know, a lot of people know Chicken Soup for the Soul. They might not realize that you're the publisher and you are here in Connecticut.
Yes, we're in Coscob, Connecticut, just an hour away.
Just wonderful. I love when I see Exit 4 and it says Coscob, because I know I've entered back to Connecticut. I'm getting back to my sanity and my home, but I love seeing that
Exit 4.
Exit
And
4.
you're in Chicken Soup for the Soul territory.
Absolutely, which is terrific. How are you?
I'm good. How are you
It's
guys?
good to see you.
You know, we've had you on so many times, and a lot of times, you know, it's about the latest Chicken Soup for the Soul book, but this one specifically was your personal passion project, and you've discovered from mulling over just, I don't know, hundreds of essays, there are really, you could boil it down to 10 keys to happiness.
Yes, so I've been doing this job, editor-in-chief of Chicken Soup for the Soul, for 14 years.
It's incredible.
During that time, I have read tens of thousands of stories, and they're all really personal stories where people share what worked for them in their lives and what didn't work for them in their lives. And so, you know, I'm a former Wall Street analyst, so I approach this all very scientifically. And I realized that I had boiled it down to 10 keys to happiness from the 14 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
And I thought, let me put all of this together. I'm nearing retirement age. I want to synthesize everything I've learned and present it to our readers. And what's cool about it is you don't even have to do all 10. If you just do one of these keys to happiness, it will be life-changing.
Now, each chapter starts with an essay by you that serves as the guided tour to help readers best utilize the lessons inside. Is that right?
You know, we don't normally do that. We normally just have 101 stories, and we have 101 stories in this book that illustrate the 10 keys to happiness. But I almost felt like I was hosting people, and so I meet them at the beginning of each chapter and say, hey, here's what you're going to read in here. Here's how it's going to help you.
I love that.
Yeah. I like it too. It's a little guide, and it's like, here's what you'll find in this chapter. And number one is counting your blessings. That's one of the keys. But you go in there and say, grateful people are just more fun. And you have a quote, we can only be said to be alive in those moments when our hearts are conscious of our treasures. That was from American playwright Thornton Wilder. But basically, people who just take that time to just have a gratitude practice. It could be writing down one thing a day, like the story about someone had a happy book. She was a pessimist. She decided, I'm going to write one happy thing a day, and she became an optimist.
And by the way, that's Jennifer Quasha, who's a friend of mine who lives in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's wild.
But we have found, I've read thousands of stories from people who said, gee, I'm not an optimistic enough person. And they have just said, I'm going to write down 3 things a day, or 1 thing a day that made me happy, or that I think is a blessing in my life. And do you know, gratitude is actually something you can add on to your personality. And just by that simple practice, they find in a week or 2, they become much happier people, much more grounded, much more grateful for everything in their lives.
Now, can we share the 10 reasons, or do you want us to wait and get the book?
No, let's share them.
All right.
Absolutely.
Count your blessings, free yourself with forgiveness, help someone else, have less stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That is a big one. Think positive. Make me time, step outside your comfort zone, be yourself, also very huge. Pursue your passion and get outside in nature, which Kara is always encouraging me. Take a walk in Elizabeth Park, you know, just do simple things like that.
I think a lot of us learned that during the pandemic when we're stressed and we're upset.
Right?
One of the simplest things, if I just go take a walk outside, I know doing Kara's Cures for years, I've been told that, but you feel it. When you get outside, you're like, oh, I'm not as bad as I was 10 minutes later.
It puts things in perspective, doesn't it? You see the squirrels and the chipmunks and the birds, and they're running around doing their thing and creating shelter and mating and raising their young and all of that. And then you realize, gee, my own problems aren't that important.
Yeah, you just feel like more in, okay, we're all doing
one
it.
part, you're one tiny living being among, you know, hundreds of millions of living beings.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're going to be do more on Kara's Cures today, right?
Yes, I absolutely am.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to get into this a little bit more on the podcast and the streaming show Kara's Cures on WFSB Plus. More of the 10 reasons. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you so much for being with us.
We're so excited.